I've been working on this series I'm calling the Energy Series, and essentially it's about anything that wants to show up when I'm in the studio painting. And for me, that can be anything from self-doubt to pure elation, but mostly it's about losing my ego to the moment. And in losing my ego to the moment, what comes through is a kind of opening to now. So being closer to the moment, being closer to what I think of as reality versus whatever voices I might usually have in my head. And that leads me to expressing on the canvas in ways that feel natural and inquisitive. So I seem to have these two different voices or ways of being when I'm painting. One is I am hoping that it goes well. And I'm kind of stiff. I can feel I can feel my body being stiff. And in that stiffness, my head starts to go, my head game gets going. And my solution to this is to just let go and to not care about it. So the earlier stages, like a lot of artists, I think the earliest stages are are the freest because all I'm doing is activating the canvas with whatever mark comes through. Now, I might choose a color, I might do a background over white and then go from there. But often, more often than that, I'll just choose a color I want to work with that day. Doesn't matter what color it is. And I'll just freely express with a brush going from my shoulder. And I feel like for me, I have fallen into or maybe even discovered my style or one style of painting from that start, because it's very gestural, it's fluid, and it's swirly. I find that I'm a swirly person naturally. So my mind swirls around and I come at problems sort of from very high view, but I instead of targeting down and going, oh, there it is, like a hawk would on its prayer, boom, and going down, tend to circle around it and do this sort of funnel thing where I go lower and lower and lower and lower, and finally I just land on whatever the thing is going to be. And I'm getting to be okay with that. I
Hmm.
wouldn't say this is a natural way of me being. I would say this is just like I'm getting to be okay with that because the part of me who's judgmental wants to go, there's what I want, I'm going to get it. But seldom does it work that way for me. I remember when I was a kid, if I if I liked a girl in class, and I'm talking about elementary school, if I liked a girl in class, I would sort of spend some time mesmerized by her, and then I would go off in the other direction because I don't know why I do this, but I tend to just go off in the other direction from what I want. And
Wow.
maybe I was just doing this swirly thing and just kind of like, well, what is all of this in its nuance? And I do the same thing when I'm making a painting. So from now on, from now on, I'm gonna equate making a painting with having a crush on whatever's emerging on the canvas, um, as an experiment, just to see what happens. But I don't know. I feel like ultimately this energy series, has been about allowing what comes as it comes, when it comes, without interfering with it. And I don't know if you can see on my screen, but this painting, this yellow painting, is an all-over painting, and it's just these swirly motions, and it has portals into a background or something beyond. It's not a horizon, but it's like we're looking maybe through a canopy of leaves up at the sky. Could be anything. Doesn't have to be that, but could be that. It doesn't have a meaning beyond anything we put into it. And that's kind of where I thought I was headed with this energy series. I thought I was painting the sensation of energy.
Hmm.
I thought I was going to go in and kind of follow energy around, and I would feel it sensorially and somatically in my body. I would feel it come to me. And that's actually the experience I've had. But interestingly, it hasn't shown up as an all over abstract expression. It's started to show up as these beings. These, if you look at these paintings as images, or if you're actually able to come to the studio and look at them in person, you'll see that these dark marks on these paintings are actually beings.
Mm,
And I call them beings, you might call them figures. They're not anything from our world, but they're not outside of our world either. They're from tapping the unconscious by letting go of what the piece is supposed to be as I make it. I don't know what's happening. I don't intend these things. I don't plan them. They emerge from me letting go. And from me letting go, I feel like there's an agreement I have with shadow or unconscious or even the collective unconscious. There's something that comes through that shows up as these beings. And I don't want to put too much meaning into it because, frankly, I don't know. But if I had to guess, or maybe it just seems pleasant to me to imagine that these are figures out in, there's energy slowing down and taking form, which is what all form is, if I understand the science right. It's just energy that's in a much slower state than energy that's in a free state moving around. And because it's in a slower state, we're able to, it takes form and we're able to see it.
mm,
And some theories suggest that we wouldn't actually see it if we didn't agree to see it.
mm,
Um, does a tree fall in the forest if no one's around to see it, that kind of thing. Um, that aside, I don't know about any of that. I just, I know what I've read and it's very little. But I will say that when these beings emerge on the canvas, it feels like a visitation. It feels like something is happening that is outside of me, but also part of me. And that's kind of my understanding again, how energy works. The idea of non-duality is that we're all energy, we're all stardust, we're all kind of made up of the same stuff. And if that's the case, then why couldn't these beings be, I don't know, a message, a symbol? Um, Definitely, I'm able to, when I'm kind of done for the day on a piece and I stand back and I look at it, and I'm able to bring an interpretation to it that makes a lot of sense to my understanding or perception of who I am and my story and my psychological filter and the way I navigate the world. Makes a lot of sense. Of course, it does, because that's who's doing the interpretation. But also, I feel like there's this mystery, and there's this timeless kind of mythology that's emerging on the canvas through these beings. So, whereas I set out to do all over energy paintings that would look like abstract expression and look maybe like how energy might look in movement, what's come through are these beings. And these beings, I'm just curious about them. I'm
mm,
trying not to put meaning into them. I'm just trying to be with them. And I'm grateful for their arrival. I'm happy to have them here. And I don't know if I'm hosting them or they're hosting me. I suspect they're hosting me. And I think that's a fun way to spend a day, in making art where I'm open to whatever comes, and what comes may be a visitation like this. So um, I like where this has headed. The pieces feel unfamiliar. They don't feel like
mm,
they're wholly from me. So in that sense, the curatorial side of me feels like, oh, I don't know if I like these, or I don't know if these are done yet. Or one part of me says, wow, I really rushed to resolve this painting by making it into a being. I saw a shape and I said, oh, that kind of looks like a dog. I'm gonna give the dog a leg like a dog leg. And some of that happened in the making of these pieces.
Wow.
And I questioned it when it came through, and I didn't like it because I wanted it to be pure energy, movement, like this yellow piece over here. And it wasn't. And three, four, five pieces now have these beings. And I'm allowing it because I don't know where it's coming from. And I don't, as I swear, I don't think, oh, that's my style. That's my painting. It's
Mm-hmm.
not my painting. It's our painting. It's like there's some sort of expression going on that I don't consciously understand. So we could say, yeah, it is actually all me. It's from your shadow and your unconscious. So of course your conscious wouldn't recognize it. Okay, I'm fine with that. And that's probably as close to true as anything else. I just feel like this experience right now is becoming an exploration of what I will allow,
Mm-hmm.
what the part of me who protects me and keeps me safe from the world and from myself and from what emerges in the studio is relaxing and allowing more to come through than it usually does. And because of that, I feel like I'm growing as a painter and I'm seeing myself as a different person and a different kind of artist. And I like that feeling because it feels more like a collaboration and less like I'm trying to accomplish something to get it right. I'm
Mm.
trying to please other people. I'm trying to match my intention of painting energy and movement. So
Wow.
I feel like this has been a revelation. I feel like I have crossed the threshold on the journey and I've gone through a lot of obstacles and I may be I think last night something came through that scared me and I've since covered it over. It was a wound. It's actually up on Instagram right now. And if I don't take it down, you can go look it up. But it's actually a wound and it looked like um, a kind of orifice that like a I don't know if it's an arrow like an arrow in a human body that had been pulled out or what, but it scared me. And I'm wondering if that's a symbol of rebirth, of an old part of me leaving or being injured by what's coming through, and a symbol of a part of me passing. This
Mm.
wasn't the kind of wound that you would necessarily survive.
Wow.
So I like that this has taken a dark turn because to me, that's where the realness happens. That's where the growth, that's where the artistic breakthroughs come through. And again, I'm allowing it. It feels like the next time I go into the studio, which will be today, and work on the paintings, I may go deeper into that. But I'm not holding an intention for it. I'm holding an intention for it. I'm not holding missive. It's not I don't want it to be a performance. So for me, I feel like this has been a wonderful journey, exactly the kind of journey I want to continue to go on when I make a series of paintings.
Oh,
And
wow.
I feel like it feels like real life. It feels like whole being, unconditional real life, allowing what is to be as it is when it is. And that's a pretty good way to paint.